Hopefully that works. Let's move on. All right. So one big thing we're going to do a lot in this class and in our next coming classes as well, even in the next semester, is we are going to convert. We're going to convert over and over, and hopefully you've seen the cards to be able to convert, and I'm noticing now that my measurements is spelled wrong. That's okay. We can deal with that. I'll deal with it later. So anyhow, so I need to convert, and so I need conversion factors. I need to know standard conversion factors and metric conversion factors. So for instance, if I wanted to convert from milliliters to liters or liters to milliliters, I need a factor. I need to understand that two things are equal. If I have 1,000 milliliters, that is equal to 1 liter, which is abbreviated with a capital L. Or 1,000 milligrams is equal to 1 gram. Or 1,000 micrograms, mcg, is equal to 1 milligram. All right. So things like that. So a metric system is beautiful. It's just a moving of decimals a lot of the times. Whereas we're here in America and we are on the standard system. So we have things like pounds and ounces and tablespoons and teaspoons and gallons and horrible measuring things that came back from the days of kings and queens. Right? A foot comes from the idea of the king's foot, which is horrible measurement thing to measure. So, all right. So anywho, that's me going off on the metrics on the standard system. So we have to be able to convert back and forth. To pounds, for instance. So kilogram, right? Kg. 1 kilogram is actually equal to, well, approximately, I should say, but we're going to use 2.2, right? It's not the best way to do this. It's 2.2 pounds. It's not the best way to do this, and we could use more decimals because it's not exact, but this is what we're using, okay? So I want you always to use this 2.2 pounds equals 1 kilogram to do this. All right. Another way, another thing to keep in mind is that 30 milliliters equals 30 milliliters equals, is it 1 ounce? Yeah. 1 ounce. Abbreviated OZ. That's a Z, not a 2. 15 milliliters is equal to 1 tablespoon, abbreviated capital T B S P. Sorry, I got a little big there. 5 milliliters is equal to 1 teaspoon. Right? 5.4 centimeters, cm, is equal to 1 inch. Many of these we will not use, but we will be using pounds to kilogram, milliliters, ounces to milliliters, and so forth. Well, so those are the big ones. The other ones aren't as big, but we do measure things a lot in ounces, and then have to possibly convert them to milliliters and so forth. So, all right. So let's talk about that converting. How do we convert? So, and why can we convert? So, all right. So let's recall a couple things. So one thing is that we can write equivalent fractions. So we can write the same or equal fractions in different ways. So for example, 3/4 equals, if I multiply the top and the bottom by 2, right? 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8. So, right, 4 times 2 is 8. So, and so forth. So I could do 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 3 is 12. So, right, so to get this fraction 9/12 is exactly the same. They're equal to 3/4, right? We're not simplifying. All I'm trying to convince you of is that if I multiply, right, if I take 3/4 and multiply by like 4 on the top and the bottom, or any number that's the same, right? You can multiply pi for all I care, pi on the top, pi on the bottom. If we multiply, right, 3 times 4, I get 12. And on the bottom, I get 4 times 4, which is 16. This is equal, right? This number, 12/16, is equal to 3/4. And that's what I'm saying, right? If I multiply the top and the bottom by the same thing, I get the same thing back. So, right, I get the same fraction. This is an equivalent fraction. So, what is 4 divided by 4? 4 divided by 4 is 1. All I'm doing here when I multiply 3/4 by 4/4, I'm really just multiplying by 1. And when I multiply anything by 1, I get the anything back. So here I am just justifying to you why we can do this and why it doesn't change the fraction number at all, right? So that is why. So, all right. So now we're not dealing with this whole building up the fractions, but what I am talking about is the fact that if I take a fraction, so let's say I take a fraction, I take this 2.2 pounds, I'm going to write the units here. We always want to write the units to 1 kilogram. This number, this fraction here, 2.2 pounds over 1 kilogram, is actually equal to 1. I know it doesn't look like it, and I know if I divide by 1, I'll get 2.2, right? This is kind of, I'm going to put this 1 in quotes. Let me put it in quotes. This is 1 because 2.2 pounds, why isn't this working? 2.2 pounds my pen died on me. Oh, hold on. That's why. 2.2 pounds is the same as 1 kilogram. So 2.2 pounds is the same number as 1 kilogram. So we get, right, in quotes, 1 when we do this, right? This is why we're allowed to multiply by this fraction, or also equivalently, or also another fraction we might be able to use is 1 kilogram over 2.2 pounds. What we're using here and what we're going to use in the future is what's called dimensional analysis. And hopefully you've been through my first semester group and you're just reviewing, because these are the cards that we use, right? These are the cards. I have one card. This would be the front side. This would be the front side, and the other thing would be the back side, right, of the card. And we get to choose which one we want depending upon the problem we have, right? And we're going to multiply our numbers from the problem to this. So let me erase that so we can read the number. So here I'm going to convert 230 pounds to kilograms is what I want to do. So I want to do that. Let's get my pen out. So 230 pounds, I want to convert to 1 kilogram. So, right, I'm going to get rid of this equal to. Let's get rid of that. So I'm going to take 230 pounds, right? This is kind of a fraction always. This is already a fraction. If I write a 1 over it, 230 pounds, right, per one person, I could think of it if I want to. And so I want to convert it to kilograms, which means I want to get rid of the pounds. And what I love about conversions is that when we do this, I want pounds to go away. So it's kind of like how things cancel in mathematics with fractions, so what I mean is that when I write a fraction, which fraction do I want to use? Do I want to use the 2.2 pounds over 1 kilogram, or do I want to use the 1 kilogram over 2.2 pounds? There's a choice there. So if I want this to cancel, right, I want pounds to be in the bottom so I can cancel with the pounds in the top. We will talk about this over and over again to make sure. So this is the fraction I want. So that means 2.2 pounds goes in the bottom and 1 kilogram goes in the top, right? Which allows me to then cancel the pounds, right? Because it cancels just like in math. And what I'm left with is units of kilograms. So what do we have? When we're all said and done, what I have is 230 times 1, which is just 230 over 1 times 2.2, right, kilograms. So I'm going to do the math. I'm going to multiply all in the top first. I'm going to multiply all on the top first, then I'm going to multiply all on the bottom second, and then we're going to do this division. You don't have to write this part that I just wrote. You can do it in your calculator, right? I'm just trying to explain what's going on with the mathematics. So now we need our calculator. I don't have my calculator out, so here we go. So I'm going to take 230 and divide by 2.2. And it equals 104.5 if I round appropriately. Kilograms is what we're talking about. kg. All right, and this is my answer. All right, so hopefully that makes sense because we are going to be converting quite a lot in this. Let's do it again. So let's do it again to convert 34 kilograms to pounds. So going the opposite way. So again, I'm going to get rid of this equals to. This is my problem. So I got 34 kilograms per one person, right? And I'm going to multiply that by one of my choices for kilograms to pound conversion fraction. So, right, if I put kilograms in the top, that won't help me. I can't cancel them out. So what I want to do is I want to get rid of that. So I'm going to put kilograms in the bottom so they will cancel. Pounds in the top, so that's 2.2 in the top, 1 kilogram in the bottom. Now we can see that my kilograms cancel and I'll be left with pounds. All right, so now I can go through, enter this into my calculator. If I notice, right, in the bottom all I have is 1 and that goes away. In the top I just take 34 and multiply it by 2.2 and I get 74.8 pounds. I don't know why my pen's not doing. There we go. So as the answer, always write those units and round appropriately. But my problem actually gave me 74.8. So which was the appropriate rounding already. So watch out, show your work, right? Particularly for the exam at the end of the semester, kind of thing. That's what the instructors told me. So let's go through some more examples and then I'll give you some to do. So for instance, if I wanted to convert 79.2 milliliters into ounces, usually we go the opposite way, ounces into milliliters, but I just want to try and make sense of what we're talking about with conversions here. So, all right, so 79.2 milliliters. You can start off with that amount per one person or whatever we're talking about. I'm going to multiply it by another fraction, my 30 milliliters in 1 ounce, right? Kind of thing. So I either have 30 milliliters over 1 ounce, or I can either use 30 milliliters over 1 ounce, or I can use 1 ounce over 30 milliliters, right? And these should be the cards you have. There's one side, there's the other side. All right, so I have to choose which one I want, right? So notice the milliliters is on top, and if I want them to cancel, I should have milliliters in the bottom here, and ounces would go on the top. So this is 1 ounce and 30 milliliters, okay? Right, and then milliliters cancel. I'm left with ounces, which is what I want. So what do we end up getting? Right, what am I going to do? I'm going to do 79.2 times 1 times 30, right? So all I get is 79 over 30. So I'm going to divide those, right? 79.2 divided by 30 equals 2.64 ounces. We have no way to tell if this, right, what kind of rounding rules we have for ounces. So we'll just leave it at that approximately probably 1/10. So a tenths, round to the tenths place for ounces. We're talking about measuring stuff, but we always convert from ounces into milliliters for our problems, because milliliters is what we work in the nursing field. All right, moving on. So I want to do 4 liters in 3.5 hours into liters per hour. So this is what I want to convert it into. So that's weird because I have liters and I have hours, right? And I want to convert it into liters per hour. All I have to do, so if I want, by the way, per in mathematics means division. So what I'm looking for is liters per hour units wise. So if that's what I want, then all I have to do is take 4 liters and divide it by 3.5 hours. So if I do that division, right, 4 divided by 3.5, I get 1 point approximately. So approximately, you don't need those squiggles, but it just bugs me because I'm a math person, right? And we are talking about liters, so, right, don't know where to round here for what's appropriate. So I'm going to round to where I think is appropriate. 1.143 if I round to that thousandths place. So we are talking about liters per hour is the answer. So, all right. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because the next semester we do this more. And this is really the true benefit of our cards. So now I want to convert this answer. So I want to convert my 1.143, and let me write it like this, 1.143 liters per 1 hour, because that's what it means, right? And I want to convert it into milliliter per minute. So one thing I need to do would be to convert the liters into milliliters. So, right, I need to cancel out the liters. And I want milliliters left in the top because that's what I want it to be, right? So there are how many milliliters in a liter? 1,000 milliliters per 1 liter. All right, so this would be the side of the card we'd want to use. Then I also want to convert hours, right, into minutes. How do I convert hours into minutes? Oh, by the way, many students can just say, 1 hour is 60 minutes. Let me just rewrite that as 60 minutes. And that's fine. Okay. So, but let me show the conversion. So if I want to cancel the hours, notice the hours is in the denominator here. Hours is in the bottom, which means I need to cancel. If I need to cancel it, I need hours in the top, right? And minutes in the bottom, because I want minutes to be in the bottom of my answer. All right. So since I want that, I got 1 hour, I got 60 minutes, right? And let's show the canceling, because this is the beauty of dimensional analysis, which makes it so easy to see that I get my minutes in my denominator and I get my milliliters in my numerator left over. So my answer, right, all said and done, we'll have milliliters per minute when I do all this math. So what math am I going to do? I'm going to take 1.143 and I'm going to multiply it by 1,000, right? Then I'm going to divide by 60 in the end, all right? Because it's 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 60, and that doesn't matter. So I'm going to do that. So let me do it in my calculator now. I'm going to multiply by 1,000. So multiply that 1.143 by 1,000. And then I'm going to divide by 60. So what I got was 19. And this is, 19. This is milliliters we're talking about per minute. The minute doesn't matter, but it's still units of milliliter. I got 19.04 milliliters, but I want to round it because it's above 1. I want to round it to the tens place. So 19.04 will get rounded to 19.0. 19.0, we don't want trailing 0. So clearly it's just really just 19 milliliters per minute as the answer. All right. Here's a you try it section. This is the last you try it of this week, right? So you go ahead and stop the video and you pause it. And then I'll continue on this video to explain it. So, all right, so here I go. So I'm going to convert the following to the desired units. I want 3 ounces to milliliters, 3 ounces to milliliters. So I want 3 OZ per 1, whatever. I like putting the 0.1. I'm going to convert it to milliliters, right? So I either need milliliters in top, but I also need ounces in bottom to cancel out the ounces of the 3 ounces. So there are 30 milliliters per 1 ounce. So this is going to be a standard conversion for us. So noticing the canceling, boom, boom. I do like seeing this canceling and boxing. It really helps you understand what's going on here. If you fully understand it, then it's not important, but let's just do it and for a little bit to make sure you understand it. So now I just take 3 times 30, which is 90 milliliters. That's what we're talking about. Technically, this is an approximation because that's not an exact conversion. All right. So 1/4 teaspoon to 2 milliliters. So I want to convert my tablespoon. Sorry, I said teaspoon. This is tablespoon. So I have 15 milliliters and 1 tablespoon. So, and I have a quarter. So a quarter, right, I can write as 1/4 if I want to, but that's kind of working with fractions. If you don't like fractions, then I might suggest working with a quarter. So 0.25, right? Talking tablespoons per 1 person, 1 thing, right? And then I'm going to multiply by, right, the conversion with tablespoons in the bottom and milliliters in the top, right, to get them to cancel. There is 15 milliliters and 1 tablespoon. And now I get to see my tablespoons canceling, and I'm left over with my milliliters to get what? I got to do this math. I can't do it in my head. So, right, on my calculator, 0.25 times 15 equals 3.75. So we're talking about 3.75 milliliters. So we're talking about, I can't stop there because this is above 1, right? And so I have to round appropriately to 3.8 milliliters. Sorry for the bad writing and board work. All right. So 20 milliliters, 2 teaspoons, right? Again, probably not something you'll do in the future, but because we usually go to 2 milliliters, not to teaspoons, but I just want to test you. I just want you to think about how this conversion stuff works. So I take my 20 milliliters, starting off with per 1 person. I'm going to multiply it by the fraction with milliliters in the bottom and teaspoons in the top. There are 5 milliliters per every 1 teaspoon, right? And again, noticing the canceling of my milliliters and what's left with teaspoons, what I end up with is 20 over 5, which is 4 teaspoons. Okay, so now we can go to inches to centimeters. So, right, maybe measuring a baby's head, a baby in general, kind of thing. So if I want to convert this, right, and all your stuff does this for you nowadays, I know, but again, we're trying to understand the mathematics to save lives here. So I'm going to take 19 inches per 1 baby or whatever we're talking about. I want inches to cancel, so I need inches in the bottom, centimeters in the top, right? What is our conversion rate for inches to centimeters? I need to look it up myself, which was 2.54 centimeters 2.54 centimeters and 1 inch. So right here, the inches will cancel. We'll be left with centimeters. If I just multiply the 19 times 2.54, and that'll equal 48.26, which I need to round to 1 decimal place because inches is 1. Did we ever talk about that? I don't think we talked about length. I would say it's probably about 1 decimal place is good for that, but doesn't matter. So let's just write 48.26 centimeters would be the answer, right? So if they ever ask you a question like that, no, please, in the nursing program, I want to understand why they would be asking something like that and where we're rounding to. Okay. So, all right. So now let's convert 100 centimeters to inches. 100 centimeters, I'm converting per person. I'm converting that to inches. So I'm going to have centimeters on the bottom, inches on the top. For it to cancel again, there's 2.54 centimeters and 1 inch. We can see then, right, the centimeters cancel, the inches left over. So that we can then say we take 100 and divide it by 2.54. And that equals 39.37 with a bunch of zeros and other things afterwards. So I'm rounding to the second decimal here just to be safe. Inches. Right. Most likely it would be rounded to the first decimal place if you're doing this. All right. So that's some conversions. Let's go to the next set. All right. Number 6. I got milliliters to liters. So these are great, right? It's just going from metric to metric. So I just need the conversions. Still conversions work. I'm really just going to move the decimal. So if you know how to move the decimal, all right, do it. All right, so I got 780 milliliters to 1 person or whatever. Whatever. So I want milliliters to cancel. So I want milliliters in the bottom, liters in the top. 1,000 milliliters to 1 liter is what we're talking about. All right, things cancel. Milliliters, and I'm left with liters. And I get, really, so I'm dividing by 1,000. There's 3 zeros here. So, which means I'm going to move this decimal that is technically right here over 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to move it in front. So I'm going to move it in front. So I got 780, right? I should put the decimal right here is what it's saying, right? But there's issues. So this is liters, right? There's a trailing 0 here I need to get rid of, and there's no leading 0 in front. So technically I should write this as 0.78 liters. All right. Going again. Number 7, so, right, 0.54 grams over 1 times, right, I want the grams to cancel, so I'm going to have grams on the bottom, milligrams on the top. There are 1,000 milligrams to 1 gram. All right, cancel, box. All right, sorry I didn't do the color. I'm getting lazy here. But hopefully you understand. Now I'm multiplying, so the zeros make this number bigger, right? Moving that decimal over 3 to the right, I'm going to get 540. Yowzers. That was horrible. 540 milligrams is what we're talking about. All right. So doing the next one, micrograms to milligrams. So I got 0.97 micrograms. I want to convert it per 1, right? I want to convert it to milligrams. So I'm going to cancel out the micrograms with the milligrams, I have 1 milligram in 1,000 micrograms. All right, things will cancel, and I'll be left with milligrams, which is what I want in the top, not the bottom. That's not milligrams. So again, I'm dividing by 1,000, which moves the decimal 3 times to the left. So giving me 1, 2, 3 extra zeros in front of the 97. Whew, that writing is horrible. Let me try and rewrite that. So what was going on with my pen? 0.123097 milligrams. Okay, there we go. All right, so what if I wanted to convert from grams to microgram, right? So this is going to be lovely. So, all right, our conversion rates are 1,000 to milligrams, 1,000 milligrams to gram, and 1,000 micrograms to milligrams. So we can use them both. I just want to have a 2-step conversion, right? So I'm going to cancel out the grams, right, to make it milligrams. That's 1,000 milligrams per 1 gram. I'm going to cancel out the milligrams on my next step. It's 1 milligram per 1,000 micrograms. All right, I want you to see a 2-step process. Canceling out. I am left with micrograms. We are multiplying by 1,000 twice, right? Moving the decimal 6 times is really 1 million. So we're multiplying by 1 million, or moving the decimal 6 times, right? 1, 2, 3 would make it 75. 1, 2, 3 more would make it 75,000 micrograms. Sorry, I got a little over the top there. That's the answer. All right. Hopefully this helped. Thanks for watching.